a very special video. I'm actually starting a series for you guys where I'm going to be talking about how to make your own online store and start your business as an artist. This has been something that people never stop asking me about, where I get products made, why I choose one store over another, how to print your own prints, things like that, how to ship out originals and prints. So I'm going to be covering all of those things in a 4-part series, I guess. So today I'm going to be focusing on products and making your own inventory. And this video is also sponsored by Squarespace. If you're looking to make a custom website, get your own domain, or even make your own online store, you should check out Squarespace. It's what I use and I love it. There's a free trial, and if you try it out and you like it, there's a 10% off code on your first purchase by going to squarespace.com/Jacquelin. Squarespace didn't ask me to do this video. They're just sponsoring my videos, and I really wanted to make a series about this because I get so many questions. They just happen to work perfectly together. So today I'm talking about making your own products. There are going to be a lot of names in here. I'm going to try to list them all below. Most of them are just going to be the ones that I've used before. There are tons of options out there. There's no way I'm going to be able to name all of them. I'm just going to name the popular ones that I've heard of, the ones I've tried, and I'll let you know what my favorites are. And if you guys know of any other resources that you like for any of these kinds of products, go ahead and comment below if you feel like sharing. That'll make this like some giant resource list that people can refer to when they're making their own products too. So I think it's good for artists to help each other out. I know a lot of people don't like to share their resources. Sometimes I don't when people kind of like demand it or they ask really rudely, which actually happens a lot, especially on Instagram. But I think it's awesome that artists are making their own way in the world now. Like, you don't have to shovel out a ton of money to go to art school or try to impress some big company when you can just start your own store and maybe that'll take off. You never know. So I'm here to help you guys figure out your own way and open your own online store. So the first product, I'm just gonna list a few that are usually the basic ones that most people start with. Prints, obviously, stickers, enamel pins, patches, and screen printed shirts and stuff like that. There's a crap ton of other products you could do. It's good to come up with your own ideas and do something different from the other people, but these are just the basic ones to start out with for any beginners. So let's start off with prints. There are 2 things you can do to get your own prints. You can order them and have them made in a print shop, or you can print them yourself. I do both. For the most part, I print them myself, but when I know I'm gonna need a lot of prints of the same print and it's gonna be something maybe special like holographic prints, then I will order them. Now, the places that I've used for prints are Cat Print. That's a really popular one. They're really awesome. They print pretty quickly and they have really good quality when it comes to glossy or holographic prints. They're so cool and it's a really unique thing to offer. I did use them once for matte prints. I used like a really thick stock. I don't know what they used to print with. It seemed like when they printed with black on matte paper, it was shiny, like the ink came back reflective, which usually means that they're using a laser printer. I don't know, maybe it's not, but I wouldn't recommend matte prints from them, but if you're gonna do glossy or holographic, they're amazing. Now, for any of these places, I would highly recommend you order a sample packet from them first. Most places offer sample packets of like their different types of paper or products that they can make. It's really important, and if you order a whole bunch of them, you can have your own stock of samples and then refer to them later on when you want to order something from a new place. It's very useful. Now, when I started out as a beginner, I opened my shop when I was in high school still. I sold prints all throughout college when I was going to art school, and usually I would either print them myself just using, you know, any crappy printer and cardstock from like Michaels, or I would go to like Office Depot or Staples and get them printed there. Anytime you go to one of those type of places, like an office supply store, they're gonna be printing your prints through a laser printer, which is not the best quality. If you're a beginner and you're just opening your store, maybe you don't have a lot of money, it's fine. It's a cool way of getting cheap prints, and if you sell them for, you know, a couple bucks each, make sure your customers know that it's not like the best quality. You want to say it's a laser print, it's glossy, whatever. It's important to be transparent in your description. But if you really need to start out and you don't have a lot of money, Laserjet prints are fine. Just make sure that as you go along, maybe if you start selling more, you want to upgrade your quality, and inkjet is probably the best way to go for the most part. That's just something to remember, but it's completely fine to start out with lower quality prints and work your way up. Some other places that you can get prints made are Cat Print, I already mentioned that. U Printing, I've never used, but I've heard good things. There's also Minuteman Press, which I think are located all over the country, at least in the US. I don't know about anywhere else. There's Jack Prints. Awesome Merch is a cool place in the UK that does like a huge variety of products, and they seem really cool. I've never used them. Of all of those, I've only used Minuteman and Cat Print. Minuteman I usually just use for postcards or smaller prints, business cards and things like that, but Cat Print I would use for art prints. Now, printing at home, I recommend a Canon printer. I used to use HP and Epson, you know, throughout my life, but HP's not very good, and Epson, turns out they had a lot of problems and really bad customer service when I used them. So I switched to Canon and it was immediately so much better. If you have an HP or an Epson or anything else, that's fine. Like, I'm not telling you to go throw your printer away and shell out a bunch of money for a new printer. Just if you're looking to upgrade one day, I would recommend a Canon, or I've heard Brother printers are pretty good too, but Canon seems to be widely available and generally really great quality. Now, I use a Canon MG6800 for small prints and a Canon Pixma Pro 100 for larger prints. That one prints up to 13 by 19. I have two printers because the ink for the large one is really expensive, so I'll only use it for large prints or limited releases. The small printer I use for printing on demand, like 5x7 and 8.5x11 prints. If you're starting out and you're looking for a printer to buy, I would highly recommend the Canon MG6800, or really any other Canon desktop printer that's inkjet around that range. Like, it doesn't have to be the same exact one. They're all pretty awesome. The paper I use to print most of the time is Moab. They have a really high quality matte stock that is very soft and really good for high quality prints. Now again, if you don't have the money for that, I used to use an Office Depot brand paper. They have one called Premium Matte Presentation Paper, which is actually feels the same as the Moab paper, but way cheaper. I cannot vouch for the quality of it because it prints really beautifully, but I don't know how long it lasts, if it's acid free or not. If you're going to be charging more for prints, you want to have an acid free paper that's good quality and it's going to last, you know, with light hitting it and stuff like that. But if you're beginning and you need something inexpensive and you're not going to charge a lot for it, then you could use the Office Depot one too. When I was really starting out in high school and art school, again, you don't have to use these if you're just starting out. It's just a recommendation. You can also find some local shops to get your prints made. There's probably a ton in your area, mom and pop shops where they do printing on demand and stuff like that. So if you're looking to find a place nearby you where you can check on them, that's always a good option. Just do a quick Google search of fine art printing or even just printing in general nearby. Alright, the next product type I wanted to talk to you guys about is stickers. I used to print my own stickers and cut them out by hand. I'd sell them for really cheap using like label paper or something. Eventually I found a place that sold matte vinyl sheets that you could print with your inkjet on them. That was really cool for a while, but then I had to cut out each one by hand and it was horrible. You can also buy small desktop plotters that'll just cut everything out for you. Things like the Cricut or the Cry Cut, I don't know how you call it. I think it's Cricut. You can get it at like Michael's or something, but honestly, that takes forever. And as soon as I tried ordering stickers from a place that actually made them, it was like a billion times easier. So I did my research. I looked through as many sticker printing shops as I could, all the popular ones on Instagram, and I came out with a couple of them. There is Sticker Robot, Sticker App, Sticker Mule, Sticker Guy, and Bumper Active. There's also Awesome Merch, Jack Prints, and places like Vistaprint and stuff like that. Those all make stickers. I think Moo also makes stickers too, but the cheapest one I could find that was the easiest to use and the quickest turnaround was Stickerat. They are by far the best one I could find, and I still use them. They are my favorite because sometimes when I order from them, they're in like Sweden, I think. I ordered and I got my order 3 days later. and I'm in California. I don't even know how they got it here that fast, but it was amazing. The quality is really good. They print on beautiful glossy vinyl, and there's other options like holographic and transparent, and they use a laser cutter to cut them out for you. So it's really quick. They're beautiful. They do the custom die cut stickers. They're amazing. I would definitely recommend them. If you want to try any of the other places I mentioned, go ahead and let me know what you think about them, because I've never tried those ones. I'm too in love with Stickerat. So that is it for stickers. Now, enamel pins and patches are something I haven't tried a lot of. I do have a good handful of enamel pins that I've released. I think I've done like 6 or 7 designs now. I used Made by Cooper for all of them. I'm not sure how I feel about Made by Cooper because they are just a middleman. It's a group in the UK who pretty much just edits your file for you and they send it to China. China sends it to me. It takes about a month, and as they got more popular, it's like a month and a half and even longer sometimes. They're the only place I've used so far, so I can't really compare them to anybody else right now. There's one thing about things like enamel pins and patches that you have to watch out for, because if your company is sending them to China, there is a chance that your design could get stolen or sold to another company, and like Forever 21 will start selling it, or you know, all those horrible clothing stores that just take ideas. From what I've seen, it's usually factories in China that kind of take your design, and there's a chance they could sell it to someone else. So far, I've been lucky enough to not have that happen. Maybe Made by Cooper makes sure that their factory they use doesn't do that. I'm not sure, I haven't talked to them about that, but so far I've never seen anything from them stolen. Now, there is an option for you to go through local shops. There's plenty of places probably in your country that make enamel pins and patches. You need to make sure that before you order from them, they don't outsource, because one time I thought I found one here in the US that did make them here, and then I was like, okay, so how long would it take? And they're like, oh, it's a month. So pretty sure they're sending it to China and sending it back. So you really have to watch out for that. There's another issue with these. There's a lot of artists who they don't like to support, you know, like sweatshops and things. You never know who's making your products. If they're outsourced, you never know. It is good to support local shops, you know, places within your country. That's an amazing thing to do if you're able to. If you have the luxury and the freedom to choose local shops, you know, usually they'll charge a little bit more, so a lot of people can't afford it. If it's something that's important to you, by all means, you should follow your morals, but I'm not gonna look down on artists for outsourcing their products, because it does get really expensive and not everybody can afford to do that. So that's something that you probably want to think about as an artist and as a shop owner. Maybe something in the future that you could look into. The same goes for like eco printing, using recycled products and packaging and all of that. Look into that if it's really important to you. That's really great. All right, the next product I want to talk about are shirts and tote bags, clothing and stuff like that. For this, again, I've only ever used one company, and then the rest we do ourselves. So I once had shirts printed through Custom Ink, which is a company that prints digitally on shirts. There's no minimum, so you can just get like one shirt if you need to. Usually if you want to do screen printing, there is a minimum, and it's a little bit more expensive, but it is better quality depending on what kind of inks they use and stuff like that. Now, I've never ordered screen printed shirts or anything like that from anyone, because Steven, my boyfriend, is actually a screen printer. He does shirts and posters and art prints and stuff like that, so I got really lucky with that. He's actually printing me tote bags right now, which you might be able to see this one right here hanging on something. It's actually drying. But screen printing is actually a really fun thing to do. If you're interested in printing at all, you might be interested in taking a class and learning how to print yourself. Then you could do simple shirts and tote bags. You can print on any fabric, really. There are always local screen printing shops. I would recommend, if you want to do screen printed shirts or anything like that, I would recommend using a local shop. That way you can come in and check the quality and you don't have to pay for shipping, because it can get expensive. If you're short on time, then use a digital printer like Custom Ink. I'm pretty sure Awesome Merch and Jack Prints also do t-shirts. So yeah, if you want to do shirts or something, look into those. Those are all the products I mentioned. The two websites I kept mentioning in all these product sections were Awesome Merch and Jack Prints. They both do a huge range of products. I would recommend going to their website and looking at what they offer, because there's a lot of really cool things that you could get made there. I still haven't used them. I know a couple of other artists do use them, and it looks awesome, so definitely take a look. Do some research, find your own products that you could do that might set you apart from other people. Try looking in forums on art websites and stuff and see if anybody's sharing where they're getting their stuff made. If you're gonna ask another artist where they got something made, don't just go on their Instagram. Maybe send them a private message and be like, oh, I really like your artwork. Be sincere. Don't just, just say that just to get an answer out of them. Try messaging them, be nice. They definitely are not obligated to share that information with you. When they don't, it doesn't mean they're a mean person. It takes hours upon hours to research this information and find your own production companies nearby or the best, price. If they don't want to share it with you, that doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means they're trying to get you to do the work too, because sometimes it's not really fair when one person does all the work and the other people all gain from it. I'm sure you know what I mean. I usually try to do as much research as possible, maybe go through an artist's old posts and see if anybody else asked them the same question before I even think about asking them that question. So keep that in mind. And remember to order samples. If they offer a hard proof that's to send you in the mail before you order a full amount of anything, make sure you do that, because ordering hard proofs is very important. Otherwise, you might waste money on a whole bunch of one item that didn't turn out as good. I kind of learned that lesson recently, actually. So make sure you get hard proofs. Look into using local shops. Find out more about the effects of outsourcing and using eco-friendly places. All right, well, I hope that helped you guys out a lot with starting your own store. Maybe if you already have a store, this gave you some product ideas. My next episode is going to be about actually making your online store, the different options you have, and setting prices. So stay tuned for that. Before we go, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Squarespace. They're going to actually be super relevant in the next episode, but if you want to get a head start, I would check out squarespace.com. They have so many beautiful templates for making your own website. Even if you're not an artist and you're not in need of a portfolio website, you can also use them to do like event pages. They have restaurant pages, wedding events. They're really great at portfolios and pretty much any type of website if you're some kind of professional or freelancer. Their templates are beautiful. I've used so many different portfolio creation websites. I've used Tumblr for years, I used Wix, Carbon Made, plenty of other things, and Squarespace has by far been the easiest to use. I used to spend hours building my website, trying to plug it in, edit the HTML, change colors, move things over. And with Squarespace, they have all those options for you. You can just like click and drag something over instead of having to edit the HTML and stuff like that. So it's super easy to use. It's beautiful already. You just have to like plug your information and your photos in. I use them for my website. I am still in the process of switching over my store. Things have been really crazy lately, so I haven't had the chance to. They're super nice people. They have 24-hour customer service support if you have any questions at all. And they have a free trial. So that's what I did when I first heard about them. I went over and I just made a website for fun, and it came out really nice. And I was like, wow, I think I need to just subscribe now because this is way better. And if you want to do that, if you end up liking what you make and you want to use it, go to squarespace.com/Jacquelin. You can get a 10% off discount for your first purchase, like domain or your subscription or whatever. So I hope that helped you guys out. I will see you in the next video where we talk about making your online store. And I think that'll be in a week or two. I have a lot coming up. I'm actually moving into an apartment and I'm tabling at Silicon Valley Comic-Con next week. So might not be able to do a video next week, but probably the week after that, I will have the next part of this series. Keep an eye out. I want to hear about your product making experiences. If you have any suggestions, comment below. Places people can try out or places that you've heard of. Maybe I'll try them out too. All right, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.